Welcome back everyone to the EV Puzzle. Today we've got we've got another test drive, and it seems like it's a bit of deja vu. It's test driving my car, but it's not. It looks exactly the same as my car. It feels very similar to my car, but it's a 39 kilowatt hour version of the Kona. This is the premium specification, the highest that you can get with the 39 kilowatt hour. And Hyundai have been very, very kind to let me borrow it. Why would I want to borrow the exact same car that I had previously? Well, it's the comparison. I genuinely believed that this was the car that I wanted to buy. I genuinely believed this was the best value car. The premium doesn't have as many gadgets on the top that perhaps you don't need, or perhaps you don't like the leather seats. And horsepower wise, well, you get all the torque from the get-go. So apparently it's not going to be a lot different at the lower speed range, and it's 100 kilograms lighter, so it's in theory best of both worlds. You're going to get still some really good performance, 130 something horsepower, and you're not paying all the money for it. So the only thing you're sacrificing is the range. Well, range or having to charge more, that's the question. So today's video is a test drive. I want to discover how it feels different. I've taken lots of pictures to find the differences of the car, but generally the first thing that I notice is the seats. The seats are a little firmer. They're not as soft and pliant, so there's not as much thick foam underneath. The leather feels a little more sumptuous and luxurious. Notice it especially on the headrest. I've just pulled away from a roundabout back there, and I must admit, it felt just like my car. Pulled away really nice. Didn't really notice a difference. So, very first part of driving, no difference whatsoever. But, no difference I say, but I can almost swear everything feels a bit lighter. Everything feels a bit easier. The steering doesn't feel as stiff on mine. It feels a little lighter. The car just feels a little more nimble. I can actually feel it. Now, you know, I'm not a professional. I don't understand all the issues about having the extra weight in the car, but this car feels a little lighter. It feels a little easier. So the 64 kilowatt hour version, that's mine, I probably would say it feels more solid, but that solidness is heaviness, I guess. This feels still solid and planted, but just a little lighter. Does it almost feel quality, that the 64 feels a little more quality? You've got more for your money with that little bit of weight and solidness? Maybe it does feel like that. It's difficult to describe exactly what it was. Just nipping past that roundabout there, do you know, I could actually sense that actually felt really nimble. That did feel better than mine. It just whizzed round there. So let's have a quick go here. Let's we've got a nice corner coming up. So no noticeable different body roll. Whoa, wow. Yeah, and put the throttle down and it really goes. It was almost a little bit of wheel spin as I was coming off, but I'm in comfort mode, not in sport mode. So let's have an adjust and see how it goes, because performance is something that people are going to be concerned about in this car. So we're in sport mode now. Oh yeah. Oh, exactly the same. You can't keep the throttle full on. Ah, but there you go. So at 50 miles an hour, it just isn't keeping going as much as the 64. So off the roundabouts and off the junctions, very, very similar. Perhaps a little bit more manageable than the 200 horsepower, so you won't get as much wheel spin. But it only gives up at the 50 to 60 miles an hour. So again, coming off the roundabouts, here we go. Foot flat to the floor. Yeah, okay. Yeah, it's slower. It's more normal, I would say. More normal. Whereas the 64 really keeps going. It's one of the things that I've noticed, even at 60, 70 miles an hour, you want to keep going and accelerate. You put your foot down. I mean, we're doing just under 70 now, coming up to a truck. Foot down. 72, 73, 75, 76. Yeah. So it goes past and it goes up, just not as rapidly as the 64 kilowatt hour. So performance, yeah, it's noticeable, but it should be, shouldn't it? It's 136 horsepower in this smaller 39 kilowatt hour version, whereas it's 204, 206, something like that in the 64 kilowatt hour version of the Kona. So it should be different. It's a big percentage difference. My opinion, just gut feel on first driving it, the only time that makes a difference is at high speeds. Lower speed, pulling away, is actually easier. And you don't miss that loss of performance at the low level. So unless all you want is to be going 60, 70, 80 miles an hour and lots of acceleration at those speeds, then this one would be perfectly fine. Yeah, but it really pulls away nice. Yeah, but you can definitely feel the lightness. I just went over a bump there, and it had a little bit of a hop and a skip where mine wouldn't have done. Mine's more solid because of the extra weight. Yeah, this is a sporty little number. The little bit of extra weight loss really brings the car alive a little bit. It is what I thought. It's probably the best handling of the two. That this extra lightness just makes it feel a little more nimble. So yeah, my thinking that this could be a great little car, do you know, I think it is. So what else have I noticed? Well, outside, exterior wise, the car looks absolutely identical. I can't find any differences whatsoever. The interior, the things you notice is this premium specification doesn't have a heads-up display, so that's not there. Because, sorry, just flick it into comfort mode, it's a little easier than sport. The things I noticed, the centre armrest is made of exactly the same materials, that's exactly the same. The premium specification Krell system looks exactly the same, the 8-inch display. The instrument cluster and the steering wheel and all the controls on it, they all look the same. So where are the differences? What aren't you getting? Well, it looks like we've got wireless charging in here still. Looks like, I'll have to recheck it. I heard some clicking when I put my phone in there, so I guess that must be it trying to work or working. Heating controls look exactly the same. Driving controls down here, well, there's a difference. There's no heated steering wheel button, and there's no heated and ventilated seats, the leather seats. Seats aren't electrically operated, they're using the manual controls of levers to pump and lower your seat up and down and then recline it backwards and forwards. Do you know, after the electric ones, it almost feels like a nice comfort thing to have those back again. That's the way I was used to it in other cars. So yeah, that's not a problem at all. It probably makes it faster to adjust and easier to adjust. I haven't checked the passenger seat yet to see whether that's got the height adjustable controls, so I apologise for not being able to tell you that. But interior wise, yeah, basically it's the seats that, you know, they're not a problem. They're lovely, they're nice and comfortable, but you can feel their cloth. You know, they are gripping me a little more. They're a little bit more abrasive because they're not smooth like the leather, but there's a little less foam as well, so a little firmer. Side support, similar. Yeah, side support is very, very similar, so not an issue whatsoever. And we've come out onto the, shall I call it the test track. I did some testing in my 64 kilowatt hour version here to find economy differences between the different drive modes. So I've got a benchmark of how it should perform. So the idea is I'm going to come and do the same tests in the same modes and see what the car can do. So far, I've just driven 9 miles. It says 3.9 miles per kilowatt hour. And on the accumulated information here on the screen, somebody hasn't reset it for a long, long time. It's got 638 miles, and it's averaging 3.9 miles per kilowatt hour. But when I look at the driver information about how enthusiastically it's being driven, that does appear that it's being driven a lot harder than I normally would. So probably that's the reason. So coming here to find the definitive answer, can you tell the difference, not just performance wise but economy wise? Does it make a difference? Because I think the specifications say that this car should have 0.4 miles per kilowatt hour better, so that's the target, that's what I'm looking for, that's what the specification said, so we'll see whether it does. But until we get to the stopping point where I can start and stop for a clear run, I'm going to have a bit of fun. definitely more manageable. It won't scare you as much. The 200 horsepower coming up a roundabout, if you really plant your foot, you can realise that you've got to respect it because it's got some performance. This, you could probably thrash this a little bit more because it's the sort of car which is willing and eager, but you're not going to find its limits as quickly. So it's probably a car you'd drive harder. Very, very interesting. One of the other differences I noticed as soon as I got the car, well, this was given to me at 100% charge, which for one of the tests I want to do isn't very good. I actually want it on a low state of charge, so I'm going to have to drive it. I'm going to have to burn some of that energy off. And I did notice it was saying 153 miles on the GOM in comfort mode for 100% charge. So not used to seeing that, not used to seeing 150. I'm used to seeing 280, 290, 300. So it'll be interesting after I've had the car and reset it so that it knows a calmer driving style, how high we can get the GOM up. That's what I'm interested in. Will the GOM go over 200 miles? Will I get to experience what I thought was a 200 mile range electric car? So that's another one of the big proving points that I want to try and get to in these tests that are coming up. Is it what I thought? Is this almost as good, but a little bit better on handling, but a little less on range, a little less on performance, but better on efficiency? Are all those things true? And if it does prove true, then your only negative for this car is a little less comfort, a tiny bit less performance, and you have to charge out more often for some of the trips that you go on. So if you're really comfortable with the charging, then this could save you, I'll check and put it on the screen, but £5,000 odd difference between them. So very, very interesting. Now for £5,000, that's a big chunk of money to lose a heads-up display, some heated seats, electric seats. Not sure about the lights. The lights looked the same, but were they LED, weren't they? I'll check that out and let you know. It's no less enjoyable to drive. It's a really nice car to drive. Well, that was a nice piece of acceleration, smooth off the roundabout, and from 50 to just under 80 on the speedo, so hopefully just about legal. That was really smooth and progressive. It was a nice constant acceleration. I think on the Premium SE with a 64 kilowatt hour battery, then that extra power in the motor just gives you like another level, another oomph, that just as you think it would be running out normally, you've got some more. And if performance is important to you, 64 kilowatt hour with a bigger motor is probably what you want. But if you're really not fussed about performance, you just want enough, this is plenty. Absolutely plenty. It's really nice. What does it compare to? Well, the other EVs that I've tested are the Leaf 40, the Zoe 40, the i3, and the Zoe was quite sluggish by comparison, so this is masses more performance than a Zoe, in my opinion. The i3, this is just so much more smooth. The way it delivers the power and the regen braking, much smoother driving experience. But it's not as assertive and aggressive on the acceleration as the i3. The Nissan Leaf, do you know, this isn't far off. This isn't far off. But which one would I have? Oh, without a doubt. I mean, if you're comparing to a Leaf 40 and this is 5,000 cheaper than what I just bought, this is a bargain. And this is one of the things that I wanted to talk about, because I can't believe that only 2% of all sales of the Kona Electric are this 39 kilowatt hour version, because there are lots of people out there still wanting to buy a Nissan Leaf 40 kilowatt hour, and the reason they want to do it, because they don't need the bigger range, they don't want it, it's enough. So if that's the case, and this gives a little bit better range than the Leaf, and it drives better, and it does, because I thought my 64 kilowatt hour drove a lot better than the Leaf, so this is even better. So as a comparison, if people are considering the Leaf 40, and this is more in the price range, because again, you know, at the moment, because they're so popular, you're not going to get discounts on these. So if you're going to get discounts on a Leaf 40, then that makes the Leaf very, very attractive, and it will appeal to many, many people, because it's a brilliant car. But if you're going to go for a lower specification Kona Electric in this 39, which one would you prefer to have? Well, I would say that because of the old rapid gate issues and the bad image that the Leaf 40 has in some ways, in some ways it's still a good EV, but I don't think it has as good an image as the Kona. So residuals, if I was choosing between the two, which drives better, which feels better, which might hold its money better, this one, Kona Electric 39. Yeah, I'm a bit biased because I've already bought one, I know that, and I didn't really like the Leaf. So if you're the sort of person that loves the Leaf because you've bought Nissans in the past and you think they're great, then you're probably going to think that the Nissan Leaf is better. Interior, probably the interior on the Leaf will feel more premium to you, and there's probably a little bit more tech in it as well for the same amount of money. But driving pleasure and total value for money, I think it'd be this Kona. This is a gem of a car. Like, to test them side by side, I'm so privileged. Thank you, Hyundai, for letting me do this. It is an absolute privilege. Well, the video's getting quite long now, so I'd better leave it there and do a separate video to cover the efficiency tests that I did on this day, and also the 0 to 60 times, because I did a test of that as well. Thanks for watching, everyone. Thanks for subscribing. Catch you on the next video. See ya.